What's up, guys? We are back with another Marvel Legends review, another exclusive review, and kind of the counterpart to the Walmart exclusive Black Widow. We're taking a look, of course, at the Target exclusive Black Widow, which is, ironically, the Black Widow that wears the white costume. So this is the Deadly Origin figure that kind of plays off of that, I think, a limited series from like 10 years ago, and she has a white costume in that book. So we've got her here in the standard packaging for Legends, but of course it's done up in a white scheme, which looks really fantastic. Figures there in the window. You've got some artwork from one of the variant covers on the side showing her in that suit, and then the back of the box has a shot of the figure and then a little bit of a write-up. So let's do it. Let's pull her out and take a look. And here she is out of the package, our Deadly Origin Black Widow. Well, Black Widow in a white costume. And this figure is kind of interesting because she is a lot of familiar territory as far as, well, the figure itself goes, but it's more along the lines of the complete package. Everything that we get with this figure really makes for a pretty compelling release, honestly. Just like with the gray suit Black Widow, although I'll go ahead and say that I prefer that figure to this one, I do think that there is a lot of good stuff here, just in a general sense, because she comes pretty well loaded. So let's take a look, see what she can do, see how she moves around. You're not going to be surprised because this is a female Marvel Legends figure. So we've got a head that can not really look up. She can look down pretty good though, and then you can rotate almost all the way around. I mean, her head goes as far as it really needs to, but of course you can't do a full 360 easily because of the hair. The arms go all the way out. They rotate at the shoulder. You've got a single jointed but pretty nicely hinging elbow. It's better than 90 degrees with rotation, of course. And then you've got hinges. That's a lateral hinge on her left, your right, and rotation. And then you've got a vertical hinge on her right, your left. There is, of course, a diaphragm cut, so she goes side to side, backwards a little bit, forwards a little bit, and then you can rotate some. You could probably get it to go all the way around, but it definitely does not want to do that. That's as far as it goes before it really starts to kind of tighten way too much. Legs go out about that far. They kick forward, say 90 degrees. We'll kick backwards barely at all. Thigh cut, double jointed knees, of course. And then you've got rocker and you've got hinges down at those ankles. So she moves about as well as you would expect. There are no surprises here. We're all familiar with female Marvel Legends at this point, and she's pretty much par for the course. The standout thing about this figure, though, is the look, of course. She is, though, a pretty basic figure at its core. There isn't a whole lot going on here. She is a singularly colored figure, so she's in a slightly pearlescent white plastic. It's not flat white. There is a little bit of a shine to it, but it's not that swirly, marbly plastic. It still has a little bit of a pop to it. It's not just a flat color, and it's certainly not just your base white. There is a little bit of a metallic sheen to it, which I personally like. Is it accurate? Accurate? Maybe not, but I think it works really well for this figure. She does have kind of the standard Widow belt, which is done up in a nice gold metallic with silver and red accents, of course. You've got stingers on her wrist, although they're not really in play on this figure, not like the gray suit figure at least. And then she's just what you see is what you get, a white suited figure. So a unitard basically with a collared piece. The only thing I really don't like about this is that the neck is a separate piece from the torso, which usually would be a good thing, but it's really obvious here. Like, there is a seam line that's just as plain as day on this figure. So I guess it's kind of a feast or famine thing, really. It's either going to be something where they painted it and it's a different color from the plastic, or it's a separate piece that is then attached to the torso. So your mileage may vary on whether you care about that. I don't necessarily, I guess I don't really care, but it really just kind of jumps out at me. Like, I can see that seam line right there, and for some reason on this figure that's bugging me. Normally I probably wouldn't care about it, and tomorrow I probably won't care about it either. So it's just maybe the one oddity about this one. Otherwise, though, she's very simple. It's a figure that's in a pearlescent white, not a lot of paint on it, but really she looks like she's supposed to. What really matters with this figure is the head sculpt, the hair, the face paint, and for the most part, I'm really happy with this one. I think, and it seems kind of weird to say it, that this figure does look a little bit more Russian than another figure might, and it seems kind of stupid to say that, but it kind of gives me that vibe. I think the face paint is pretty nicely done. Lips are good, eyes are good. You've got those really stark red eyebrows, and then the hair sculpt is really nicely done, giving you that windswept look, and there is a decent amount of wash in there to bring it out, so it's not just red. It's got some some black wash in there to bring out the sculpt and make it look a little bit more realistic. It's maybe not as good as the gray suit head sculpt and face go because, frankly, there isn't a lot that can compare to that one. That figure is just really fantastic on its own. But this one is a really nice extra interpretation of Black Widow in this particular instance from this version of her from this comic book. And I think they did a pretty solid job of translating this into figure form based on the artwork. Now, as far as accessories goes, this is where the figure kind of gets elevated. Just like I said, she is very much a sum of her parts thing because the figure on her own is all right, but the entire package is where it really shines because she does come with quite a bit of stuff. So to start with, you've got a handful of guns, which makes very much sense for this version of Black Widow. So you've got this little kind of futuristic pistol, and all her guns are done up in this very gunmetal-y, slightly marbly metallic plastic. A lot of sculpt on this thing. She can hold it just fine in either hand. And then you've got another version of it. This is the exact same gun, just with a silencer with a suppressor on the end, and another version of it, so it gives you two options with this. But where things really get crazy is this monster of a sniper rifle. So this very much fits the thing for this particular figure, for the version of Black Widow and this story that they're telling here. Tons of sculpt on this, more of that same plastic with the brown strap. Where things get a little more exciting, though, is that she comes with a number of effect pieces, similar to what the other Black Widow, the recent Grey Widow from Walmart, did. She has a few blast effects that port into each of the guns, so all three can use this, and you've got two of these. So you've got two orange gunshot effects, and obviously we can use this with other stuff as well. And then you've got surprisingly similarly, but very different effects from the Grey Widow. So you've got these kind of smoke effect pieces that also port into the guns. So these are similar to the ones that the Grey Widow comes with for her stingers, but they're not the same sculpt. All of these are different, which I was honestly kind of surprised about. I figured these would be that same kind of thing, but they're not. So this is really cool. I really dig this. It definitely works for setting a scene, for doing your action figure photography. I just really like the idea that Hasbro's kind of going all out, at least as an example with these two recent figures, giving us all kinds of stuff, giving us multiple types of effect parts. It really goes to show that they're trying to give us a whole bunch of accessories on these extra exclusive releases to make up for the lack of a Build-A-Figure, and I, for one, am all for it. So yeah, this is a really solid figure. I knew going into this one that I wasn't going to like it quite as much as that Gray Suit Widow because, well, that one has a little nostalgia for me, and I also think the figure is just damn impressive on its own. But this one is really solid because, well, they do a good job of setting the scene for this particular version. This is a very specific version of Black Widow with this white suit and this particular storyline that she comes from. She comes with all the right accessories and some great new effect parts. That sniper rifle is fantastic, and she looks the part. There's really not a lot to complain about on this one, and I'm really happy to get two really impressive Black Widow figures really close to each other, even as someone who admittedly is not the biggest fan of Black Widow. She's never been near the top of my list, but these two figures, this one in particular, is incredibly well done, and I'm really happy to have this one. So that's going to do it for this look at the Black Widow Deadly Origin Target exclusive. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and until next time.